Welcome to this episode of the Creepy Froggy series. It's episode 3, and this is about Uppsala Cathedral. And some quick facts about Uppsala Cathedral are that it dates back to the 13th century. It's 118 meters tall. It's the tallest church in the Nordic countries. It was designed in French Gothic style. A lot of famous people in Swedish history are buried inside it, like kings, scientists and archbishops. And to finance the expensive building of the cathedral, people had to pay money to the church in exchange for receiving prayers, ensuring them a life in heaven after death. In 2007, a new organ loft was being built in the cathedral. When the floor was dug up for the build, an unknown chamber full of old bones was discovered. At first, what could be seen through the hole in the floor were a handful of coffins. The burial chamber itself was built of bricks in a vaulted style. There are old maps of the cathedral showing where graves are supposed to be, but they are sometimes not as accurate as you would think. When the burial chamber was discovered, it was unknown who was buried there. Looking at the lists of people buried in the cathedral, it was deducted that the unknown coffins probably contained the remains of a 17th century scientist called Anders Spole and his family. In total, skeletal remains of up to 100 persons were discovered. At the same time as the burial chamber was discovered, another chamber was discovered underneath the floor. That chamber was actually unknown. Archaeologists guessed it could have been a burial chamber or maybe for storage. When the excavation was finished, the bones were reburied underneath the floor in new coffins. Before sealing the chambers again, a time capsule with a message for the future people of Uppsala was placed there. In between 2010 and 2014, some work was being done inside and outside the cathedral in order to make it safer in regards to fire. Parts of the floor and the ground were dug up, and during that work, remains of an old structure outside the cathedral were found. And they were found right here in front of the towers. The remains consisted of foundation bricks, and they were found in front of the northern tower. So what was this old building that was now lost? Well, according to meeting minutes from the Cathedral Council from 1669, It was a dead house, and it was situated there until 1851. Dead houses were commonly used in Sweden up until the mid-20th century. If a person died during the cold months of the year, when the ground was frozen and it was impossible to dig a grave, the body would be placed in the dead house until the ground was soft enough to be buried in. Now, I mentioned in a previous episode that I don't believe in the ghosts in the traditional sense of them being the spirits of dead people, but I do believe in the spirit realm. What these following experiences really are is up to anybody to interpret, but I know what I believe. But what do you think? Here are some not easily explained experiences that have occurred here at the cathedral. The square below the cathedral, St. Erik's Square, has been the location of a ghost sighting. If you're there at 3 a.m, you might join the club of people who have seen a man dressed in 19th century clothing. He has a white, pale face, and where his eyes should be, there are only black holes. He will walk across the square, head for the stairs up to the cathedral, and in the middle of the stairs he will vanish. There are a lot of small buildings around the cathedral, on the base of it, and nowadays they contain quite a lot of cute little shops, and they're also supposed to have been visited by ghosts. The owners of the shops, they claim that if they don't greet their ghosts when they enter the shops in the morning, no customers will come that day. They must also say goodbye when they leave. What you can see up there are some of the windows of the cathedral. At the base of the cathedral, there's a restaurant. Domtrappkällaren it's called. And this literally means the basement of the stairs of the cathedral. Now the rooms where the restaurant is located in, they date back to the 14th century, and they were once part of the defensive wall of the cathedral. It's been used as restaurants since the 1930s. Now, parts of this structure has rooms with windows that have thick bars, and these rooms were used as a student prison during the 18th century, and ghost sightings have been reported from the restaurant. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Keep your eyes open for the next one.